Channel 7 and 103.7 WTIB present Talk of the Town with Henry Hinton. News, sports, and community information and everything that's going on around town. Now, with Talk of the Town, here's your host, Henry Hinton.
Okay, welcome back. It's hour 2 of Talk of the Town here on Monday morning, October the 14th, 64 degrees as we join you here 4 minutes after 8 o'clock, and more drizzle and cloudy gray skies today and tomorrow and Wednesday. Oh, and Thursday. We just can't seem to get rid of this, but hopefully the weekend will clear out as we get ready for another home East Carolina game. Good to have everybody here this morning. Coach Carr and Michael keeping me company this morning. Matt Engelbrecht will be with us on the telephone here in a few minutes with some WITN news headlines. And I'll get some sports together for us again here. McGee is out today, claiming that he told me he was going to be on vacation today and tomorrow. I don't remember him telling me that, but frankly, I don't pay much attention when he talks to me, so I don't really. But you know what? I was driving to Raleigh I was driving to Chapel Hill Thursday morning. You remember I left early and then we played the Rick Santorum interview, and I listened to McGee and Heather King do the 8 o'clock hour of the show, and he actually did a nice job. He did a really good job. And then thanks to Doug Raymond for being here on Friday morning as well. So we'll be talking about that in a few minutes. So today is Monday. We've got 4 more days, or 3 more days, I guess, before the government of the United States defaults on its obligations. And I said this from the beginning. This thing started as this thing just kind of started as a kind of a cool idea to kind of stick it to the Democrats for the Obamacare thing. I continue to say that it was a huge mistake, that the government shutdown thing was a huge mistake. The Democrats have pinned it on the Republicans. There's no doubt about it. The average American blames the Republicans for what's going on right now. And in my opinion, it was a gift to the Democrats to go down this path. I think Richard Burr was right. So all the people on the far right of the party who say, well, no, it doesn't make any sense, do anything we can to stop Obamacare. This is not going to stop Obamacare. The only thing that's going to stop Obamacare is to take the Senate away from the Democrats in 2014. And in my opinion, the Republicans have handed it back to the Democrats at a time when they could have made tremendous strides toward winning the Senate in 2014, at a time when people are getting their health insurance premium bills and they're doubling and tripling in size. If you want to beat the Democrats, pin that on them. Pin it on them, which is where it belongs. The Democrats are screwing up the economy with this Obamacare thing. And if you want to win an election, hit people in their wallets. And that is exactly. Now, see, Tom Lamprecht just, well, you might disagree with me. Did you come to be on or come to bring something? Well, come disagree with me on this for a minute. Because I think you and I disagree on this. Tom Lamprecht, ladies and gentlemen, has just walked in the building. Tom Lamprecht of the 5 o'clock show, Tom and Sadie, in the afternoon. I'm saying that the Republicans have screwed up royally, and that they could be using the time right. The headlines today would be people continue to get their health insurance premiums, and they've doubled and tripled in size, and they could pin that on the Democrats and then be on their way to taking back the Senate in 2014. Instead, they've taken that off the front page and put this stupid government shutdown on the front page.
Well, you know what's interesting? I was talking to somebody over the weekend, and it suddenly occurred to me that it was interesting. We might have mentioned this on News and Views last week, that I don't think it was any mistake that the Obama administration rolled out Obamacare on October the 1st, because that's when the new fiscal year starts, and that's when you would need a continuing resolution. This administration has done a masterful job at always taking bad news off the page and replacing it with worse news. And I think if we were not fighting this continuing resolution and debt ceiling issue, the headlines would be Obamacare rollout just a terrible failure. But as it is, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the continuing resolution.
No, we've handed the Democrats the knife to stick between our shoulder blades again.
I wouldn't go that far. I think if you, first of all, we're not going to default. We don't have to default in 4 days. That'll be a decision that the Obama administration will make, and how Jack Lew and others decide to pay the bills. I mean, we're having $200 billion a month come in new tax revenue, so we could pay our obligations overseas if that's what we decide to do. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to default.
I've never heard that. Where'd you get that? I haven't heard that.
Well, if you listen to News and Views, we'll cite all the information. Yeah, we get $200 billion a month in new tax revenue.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not going to last. I mean, you can't unless they raise the debt ceiling, they're not going to be able to pay their long-term debt.
Yeah, they can. They just have to delay some other things. They just have to prioritize things. They could still pay.
They're pretty good at that.
But I mean, this administration is pretty obvious is doing what is trying to inflict the most pain, and they have done, along with the mainstream media, a masterful job at blaming the Republicans. But if you look at this shutdown compared to the 95 shutdown under Newt Gingrich, or was it 96? I guess it was. Maybe it was 97. I don't know. I can't remember the dates. But if you look at who's getting blamed this time versus then, the numbers are closer. Again, the mainstream media keeps pumping that the Republicans are getting annihilated, and the polling does point to the fact that Republicans are getting more blame, but it's not that far apart, and it depends what...
I saw one poll that showed like 74% Americans blaming. Of course, it was probably Gallup.
Well, the latest NBC Wall Street Journal poll that came out late last week was somewhat skewed. I mean, for one thing...
Well, who do you blame?
Who do I blame?
Who do you blame for the government shutdown? I mean, if we're being practical, who came up with the government shutdown idea?
Well, I would say that the blame goes back through the last, 30, 40 years where we've just been living off of debt. And I cannot blame. I guess
you're tap dancing, Tom.
No, well, there's two ways of looking at this. You can look at this as a political issue. Who's what's going to be the best deal to win the next election? And I sympathize with your comments that we do need to take the Senate if we're going to do anything significant. But the other issue is, are we going to do what's right? And
yeah, but you know what? That argument gets us in trouble every time. I mean, the idea.
Think about what you're saying. The idea of doing what's right is going to get us in trouble.
Because right to you is not right to the left wing, and so you've got to compromise to get anything done in government.
Well, when I say,
and this idea of the Tea Party continuing to shove that agenda without any compromise is going to bankrupt the country right now.
But when I say doing what's right, I'm just talking about the basic idea that you can't spend more money than you bring in. The same basic do what's right that applies to every business.
But the way to fix that is to take back Congress. I mean,
yes,
I
agree.
Look at what happened in the state legislature.
I agree, but the other issue is it is difficult to take back Congress when you've got an administration and you've got the left promising goodies out of the public treasury if you vote for me.
Yeah,
that makes it difficult. I mean, again,
they've always done that.
Well, it would be bad enough if I said vote for my friend Henry Hinton and I'll give you $20 when you go in the voting booth. Now they'd arrest me for that. But Henry Hinton can run, or President Obama can run and say, I will take the goodies from this class of people and I will give them to you if you vote for me. I mean, that is immoral and unethical.
The truth of the matter is we've moved down a continuum that has been the fault of both of certain people in the Republican Party and
no doubt.
A lot of people in the Democratic Party. We've moved down this continuum till you get to this moment in time where we are right now. And then everybody wants to say, well, let's fix all the things that were done right or wrong by coming up with this government shutdown strategy. And you cannot do that. There's got to be some level of compromise. Now, I also realize that Obama ain't very good at compromising.
Right.
He's not the compromiser either. But the idea, the only way out of this thing right now is to defeat the Democrats in 2014. I mean, in my opinion, the Republicans have painted themselves in a corner. They're going to end up looking at bad. Look, the media is going to hammer the Republicans the rest of this week, all the way to Thursday.
Well, they're going to hammer them anyway.
Right.
I mean, look, no matter what you do, the mainstream media is going to hammer the Republicans. And if you might as well be shot as a lamb if you can be shot as a lion, or vice versa. But again, I think there is something that that there is a positive in doing what is right, and I'm not so sure that at the end of the day you're going to see these people that have stood up for principle actually being elevated in the polls.
You know, the other thing, so while we're talking about media, I thought the News and Observer hit an all-time low Saturday morning with the bathroom story. Did you see that?
I did not. I'll be honest with you. When the weekend comes, I don't read a lot of news.
So the headline was, NC governor to spend $230,000 on bathrooms in executive mansion. That was the headline in the News Observer on Saturday morning. The first paragraph starts off something like, at a time when 500,000 people in North Carolina have been denied Medicaid and school teachers have been denied a raise, Governor Pat McCrory has decided to spend $230,000 putting in new bathrooms in his home in the executive mansion that include marble countertops and this. And I thought that is an all-time low for the News and Observer.
So they want to put Formica tops in.
So I actually I knew I was going to see the governor later in the day in Chapel Hill for the installation of the chancellor, and so I called him, and I was joking with him, and I was like, "Hey, how about those new bathrooms?" And he didn't think it was too funny, but he was angry as all get out about it, because here's what happened: the environmental people from the state had come into the mansion to test the air and things like they do in all the government buildings. Mm-hmm. All these buildings are so old. Right. They came in and discovered mold.
So he didn't have any choice.
They came in and discovered mold in the bathroom.
Now, was that in the article?
Way down in about paragraph number 5, they said that some mold had been discovered. It wasn't the governor's decision to even do this. It was someone in they were like, all of these walls have got to be torn out. There's mold in here. I mean, mold is a very dangerous thing. Yeah. Can kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you've got the governor and the first lady going to the bathroom in their executive mansion, breathing in mold. And so the News Observer instead wants to talk about how he's taking food out of the mouths of school teachers by putting these new marble countertops in. And you know Governor McCrory.
Yes.
Anyone who knows Pat McCrory would laugh at the idea that he was the one that wanted marble countertops. I mean, I can tell you, Pat McCrory wouldn't care if it was wood, Formica. It's just not his thing to want to live like that and to have that. I've actually been to Governor McCrory's home in Charlotte. Very modest home. He's not used to that and doesn't expect that, and certainly wouldn't want the taxpayers to do that. But again, the News Observer spins that. And so he immediately puts out a press release when that article comes out. He didn't find out about it until Friday night. He puts out a press release saying, not 1 cent of taxpayer money is going to be spent on this project, and it's only being done because of the mold. He puts that out. And so the next headline in the News and Observer is, Governor reverses course on bathrooms.
Like I said, that you're making my point. It doesn't really matter. The Republican and conservatives are going to get slammed by the mainstream media no matter what you do.
But people hear that stuff and believe it. It's just like the thing about the government shutdown, the thing about the bathrooms in the governor's mansion. People only get their information from the mainstream media, most people.
Well, that's why
they don't dig any deeper than that.
That's why we do what we do.
Well, exactly. Exactly.
But I'm
still not sure you and I. Back to the government shutdown. See, I'm on Richard Burr's side on this. He's been criticized for what he said. I think Senator Burr kind of saw the path that this was going to go down, and thought it was a bad idea. And all the Daily Haymaker and some of the conservative websites just slamming Senator Burr for not being on board with this.
Well, I don't think the question is not that he wasn't on board with it. The question was,
I believe you said it was the dumbest thing you'd ever heard.
Well, I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. What the point I'm trying to make is, you can disagree with the rest of the Republican Party without giving fodder to the other side. And as soon as he said, that's the dumbest thing I ever said, if he didn't like it, he should have said, well, you know, I am totally against Obamacare and we need to shut it down. We really need to come back and discuss, is this the wisest way to go?
But he said that over and over again.
When you come out and say, this is the dumbest thing I've ever said, the opposition is going to take and run with that, and they're going to come out and they say, look, there's a schism in the Republican Party. They can't hold it together. And I've heard Obama quoting Richard Burr saying how there's this dissension in the Republican Party. I don't blame him for not thinking that's a good idea. I blame him for coming out and chastising his fellow Republicans and fellow conservatives, and you have to wonder how conservative is Richard Burr when he comes out and says something like that.
Well, look at his voting record. I mean, his voting record is very conservative.
It is.
You know, he's just practical. He's more practical than to believe that this was going to lead anywhere other than the problems for the Republicans, and that's where it's gone.
I don't think there's anything practical about coming out and saying such a divisive thing amongst the Republicans that this is the dumbest thing you've ever heard. I think that divides the party and gives great ammunition to the other side.
You got to go. You want to stay? You want to stay and take some calls and see what people
take
think?
Some calls, sure.
561-8255. 561-8255. We'll get a break in. What do you think about this? 561-TALK. We'll be back 20 minutes after 8. It's Monday Morning Talk. I'm glad you showed up. We'll be right back. Tom Lamprecht live in the studio.
You want out of your old car but owe more than it's worth? You want credit but the bank won't approve you? Greenville Toyota will take care of all of that during our great September sell-off. Get up to 125% of Blue Book value for your trade. Then get to a new 2013 Toyota with 0 down. Corolla's $179 a month. Camrys $219 a month. And get the Greenville Toyota Advantage with covered maintenance for life. Don't miss Greenville Toyota's great September sell-off, where if you give us 15 minutes, we can lower your high car payment.
Unlock the best life has to offer for generations to come. Introducing the Legacy Membership exclusively at Ironwood Golf and Country Club. As a Legacy member, you'll not only enjoy all the benefits of an active, family-friendly lifestyle, your children and grandchildren will enjoy membership status as well. Belonging to Ironwood is remarkable. Sharing it with your entire family is even better. Become a Legacy member today, only at Ironwood Golf and Country Club. Golf at its finest, life at its fullest.
Many people in eastern North Carolina suffer from diabetes. The question is, can the disease be managed before it causes harm? Are there lifestyle changes that can help prevent it in the first place? And can a health system really make a difference? At Vidant Health, we are empowering people with tools and resources to detect and manage chronic disease. Can diabetes education and management help members of your family lead healthier lives? The answer is definitely yes.
Accidents can cause serious injuries and create many problems in your everyday life. At the law firm of Hardy & Hardy, we work to protect your rights and help solve your problems.
Attorneys Wayne and Charles Hardy help injured clients understand their rights and work diligently to obtain compensation for their damages and losses. Sharp negotiators, experienced litigators, compassionate attorneys.
If you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, count on Hardy & Hardy.
Protecting the rights of the seriously injured.
Pepsi, born here, raised by Panthers fans everywhere.
Raise your Pepsi for a chance to win the ultimate fan experience. See specially marked 18 packs or visit PepsiRaisedHere.com to learn more.
Having a vision of what really matters is how we succeed. Keeping an eye on the ball, seeing all the things that we need. Focusing on the big picture, always striving to do what's right. Carolina Vision Care, we keep what's important in sight.
All right, back in the studio this morning, 24 after 8 o'clock, Monday morning, October the 14th. A little bit of an unusual format this morning. Tom Lamprecht from Eastern Carolina News and Views with Tom and Sadie showed up in the studio, and so we started arguing, and so...
Arguing?
Yeah, we're arguing.
We
are. We're
making valid points.
We're discussing.
My point was valid, and yours wasn't.
We're discussing, and I'm pointing out the error of your ways.
All right, we'll see what our listeners think.
561-8255. Gene, good morning. You're on the air. How are you?
Good morning. A couple of things on my mind. I would encourage Tom and Sadie, and I listen to them almost daily.
Well, thank you,
to
Gene.
Contact Senator Burr's office, get his input.
We have. It's hard to get a hold of the senator.
I know it is. I have a relative who works.
Have you tried, really? Because I've never had that problem getting a hold of Richard Burr. Now, you can't get a hold of Kay Hagan ever.
I don't have a problem getting through to the office.
No, it's not getting through to him. It's getting him on the air.
I would still encourage you to continue to try. He is very aware that when he made the comment, it's the dumbest thing he ever heard, that he had a very poor choice of words.
Mm-hmm. Well, I said that on the air. I said I'm sure he regrets saying that.
And he does. I would encourage all listeners to go on to the senator's webpage, or his Facebook page, rather, and look at the video of his talk on the Senate floor on the night of September the 26th. I think any misconceptions that even those of us who appreciate the work they do up there, I think you will appreciate the words and the comments. He explains himself, he explains the problem, and as you have already alluded to, he was well aware of the fact that Obamacare was not going to be defunded and that we were headed down an erroneous path to try to even go there. So I would encourage the listeners to go on his Facebook, listen to and watch the video of the September 26th talk on the Senate floor.
Okay. All right, I don't necessarily want to make this about Senator Burr. I was the one that brought Senator Burr up. I was just bringing that up to point out that, all Republicans didn't feel like this was the way to go, and it looks like that, that was the correct prediction because I think it's hurting Republicans, not helping them. And it's not going to defund Obamacare.
Well, it's not going to defund Obamacare, but...
So what's the point?
Well, as people are introduced to Obamacare and they're seeing their premiums double and triple, mine more than double with Blue Cross Blue Shield. And they're going to look back and they're going to remember Ted Cruz standing up and decrying Obamacare just before it came in. I think a lot of people are going to look like this guy was prophetic. I think at the end of the day, I think Republicans are going to look like, you know what, they were right. We believe the Obama line, and we've gotten screwed.
Well, we didn't need Ted Cruz to do that, though, for us to believe that.
Well, no, because I think Ted Cruz got up just on the eve of Obamacare and filibustered and said how terrible this thing is. And I think at the end of the day, he's not going to look foolish. He's going to look like he was prophetic.
Well, I'm not sure he told us anything we didn't already know. But
no, you did.
Yeah.
But most Americans are totally uninformed, and I think he put that on the front page.
Yeah. Okay. Gene, thank you.
That's why I'm saying watch the video. It will give you a great explanation.
On Richard Burr's
Facebook
page.
Have a good day.
All right, thank you, Gene. 561-8255. Let's go to Jackie. Good morning, Jackie. You're on with Tom and Henry.
Well, Henry, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Good to hear from you.
Good. Good to talk to you. And I'd like to tell Tom hello, and I listen to his show all the time when I can.
Thanks, Jackie.
And it might have been better if I followed Gene because I'm going behind a big Richard Burr fan. But to answer your question, when you started taking calls, was I right or wrong about your decision on Burr being divisive or whatever? Henry, you were wrong, and Tom was right. Nobody's going to listen to Richard Burr. What he said was wrong. Everybody knows it. But who is going to go back and look at his website? He flunked Politics 101. You think one thing, but you don't. You say another. Just keep.
Well, the question is, what has the government shutdown done for Republicans? So you say I'm wrong and he's right. I'm saying let me just ask you. I'm saying the reason that Senator Burr was right is because I think he had the forethought to see that there was no end game to some sort of a government shutdown. Wasn't going to end Obamacare. It was just going to be a statement. And now they've backed themselves into a corner, and now they're going to have to acquiesce before Thursday. They're going to have to.
Right, and so like I said, like Tom said, you'd rather be shot, being mistaken for a lion than a lamb. It doesn't really matter. You're still shot. But Richard Burr, like I said, he should have, kept it to himself. Well, I mean, we finally got a little breath of fresh air in the state with a Republican, House and everything, and now we're shooting ourselves in the foot. But I don't.
Well, wait a minute. Wait. Where are you going with that? What do you mean by that?
I think we got too much infighting within the party.
Yeah.
And we've
but
let's
look at what happened when you ended up with a Republican Senate, House, and governor. I mean, there's always going to be infighting. There's going to be egos, and there's going to be concerns about the way things get done. But did you see what took place in the legislature this year? It was the most sweeping conservative changes in the history of the state. And that's my point. That's the way you make change. You get people elected.
And I agree with that. I think the media is the only thing that's really hurt us as far as the infighting, bringing it to light, when we could have kept it behind closed doors and not put it out for the other side. Just like Tom said, giving them fodder,
Okay.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to touch base with you and talk to McGee. I called you. I gave you a nickname last week, but you were out. So
what was that?
Maybe McGee will remind you. I can't tell you. Get McGee to tell you. But anyway,
is it not something? Is it not fit for air? All right. Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, it's fit for air.
All right, man. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you, Jackie.
561-8255. Let's go to Frank. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Henry.
Hey.
Most of these Republican House districts are pretty much secure. The only thing they've really got to worry about is the primary challenge. And most of the Democratic are the same way. Butterfield could probably jump off the bridge and make it in Nag's head and still be reelected.
No doubt about that.
Most of them are pretty secure. The Senate would be the only thing, and I don't think.
Well, that is the point. Is the Senate is the point?
Right, and I don't think she's helped herself in North Carolina any.
You talking about Kay Hagan?
Yeah. In fact, the Cable Association went up there this summer. Of course, we have our key leaders type thing, and she would not have her picture made with us and would not meet with us. But
that's the way she is. Kay Hagan is the single worst elected official I've ever seen. And that's saying something in North Carolina because we've had some doozies. But she is the single worst public servant in the history of the state.
Richard Byrd did meet with us. We went into his office, had our pictures made. He was very frank, sat down and talked with us for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know how he is. He just,
what is your point, though, with regard to all of this discussion about the government shutdown?
Government shutdown was the Senate's fault. They hadn't had a budget in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And until they get a budget, you've got to keep going through these continuing resolutions. And, that's as simple as it is. I put it on
That's a great
Senate
point.
totally.
Okay.
That's a great point, Frank.
All right, Frank. Good to hear from you. Thank you, man. 561-8255. Let's go to Rusty. Good morning, Rusty.
Good morning, Henry. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for calling.
Yes, sir. In my perspective, one of the things that I see is that the Republicans, like I guess I would consider Richard Burr, and I guess the only reason I would consider him this way is because John McCain gave him a nod for consideration for being a VP guy, because I believe he was like him to some degree.
He did?
But he needed someone. That's what I had heard.
When did that happen?
Back when he picked Palin. I think that's correct. I mean, I don't think it went real deep, but I think he did consider him.
You mean you gave him a nod, meaning he considered him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he probably was on a consideration list, but he was not given a nod.
Right, because he was too much like McCain, and McCain needed somebody a little more radical for his base.
Right.
My perception. So here we are, and I think this problem is probably spurred on because the establishment Republicans treat the Tea Party people who really want our country as founded with contempt. And when someone like Cruz brings this to the table and he wants to fight, they don't have a counter for how they can convince us that they're going to get rid of Obamacare. They say, we got to get the Senate in 2014. Well, Obama's still the president in 2014.
Yeah,
So
but
then
Obama couldn't do anything if he didn't have the Senate.
That's the only way. See, Rusty, that's where you and I differ. That's the only way to do anything. All this grandstanding and all this other stuff is superfluous, and it's not going to get us anywhere. The only thing that will get us anywhere is to win the Senate.
It may be, Henry, but there's a credibility issue. When Ted Cruz came up and they said, this is not the way, what way have they shown us that they could get this done? Because, by the way, in 2016, does Obama still not have the right to veto what the House and Senate do?
Yeah, but I tell you what, if you can take control of the legislative branch of the government, you can. There's some things you can do then.
Well, we do have power through the House of Representatives, and what you guys are saying is you shouldn't use the power that you have. And the reason we're in the state that we're in is because the Republicans have compromised for so long with no compromise from the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And so what they're asking us to believe is we should not fight right now. We should be passive. We should sit here. And in 2016, when the stars align and this program is entrenched, then we're going to take the hard work. We're really going to dig deep, and we're going to go down and undo all this stuff in 2016 when they're not even willing to use the power they have now.
If all that's true, then, Rusty, they got to do a better job of selling it to the American public, because I don't think the American public's buying it.
Listen, if Richard Burr would have come out or the establishment Republicans and said, this is our strategy and our plan and this is how we're going to do it, and it wouldn't have been some cakewalk dream about we're going to take the Senate in 2014 and then the presidency in 2016.
That's not a cakewalk dream. That's a real possibility. I mean, why is that a cakewalk dream?
Why?
If you ask me, it's more of a cakewalk dream to think we're going to do away with Obamacare by shutting down the government.
When we see them not willing to use any of the power that they have now because they're afraid of the Democratic Party and the media, why are they going to do the heavy digging in 2016 and really dig down and do all this stuff when they've compromised for so long? And that's the problem that we have. And if
well, when you don't have control, compromise is the only way to get anything done. I hate to tell you, that's the way government works.
Exactly. And their base, the Tea Party kind of people, man, they love and they want to fight for, but they're not presenting a vision to us. They're treating us with contempt. And if they would have come out and said, "Look, guys, we've got a better way to do this," and it wouldn't be some
Rusty? Let me just ask you, what's the end game? What's the end game to this? How does this end in a positive way for your way of thinking and for people who want it to end? And what are you thinking is going to happen? Here's the question that I think we need to ask everybody who has your point of view. Where is this going, and how does it end positively for you and for all of us?
That's why I said this is a trust issue, because they both bear the burden. They're not working together.
That's not the answer to my question. How does this end positively? What do you think is going to happen that ends up being a positive thing, that ends up being, as a result of what's happened, what X is going to happen that's going to be a positive thing for the American public? What is that?
Well, now that the Republican Party couldn't stand together unified with a unified front, to the world to show how that they're willing to do whatever it takes to stop Obamacare.
That's a question. You're answering it with another question. I'm asking you, what's the end game? How does this end on a positive level for the people who want it to end on a positive level? What's the end game? Ted Cruz wins if.
I'll answer your question, Henry. A house divided against itself cannot stand. And here's what's going to happen. Either John McCain and the establishment guys are going to get the Tea Party people out of Washington, and they will have this continuous compromise which takes away from our freedoms and liberty, or they're going to see this thing for what it is, and the Tea Party is going to gain more power in the House of Representatives. That's the way it's going to work out in the middle.
Well, we got until Thursday before we default on all of our obligations and our loans.
Well, we're not going to default on Thursday. If we default on Thursday, that's a choice of Obama. But here's the other issue too on the end game question is, we went through this a year ago with sequestration. And everybody said this is going to kill the Republicans. Well, you know what? It didn't hurt the Republicans. If anything, their numbers went up.
Yeah.
And this is not like this is the first time we've been here. I think Jimmy Carter was under this same situation several times, and it is a perception. And I agree, some of the perception is bad, but it's not as bad as it was in the '90s. The numbers are much closer than they were in the '90s.
I can't get Rusty to articulate an end game.
But the end game is we do take the Senate. Now I'm not so sure that.
But this is not going to help do that.
Well, what's your end game? What's the end game on your side?
The end game for me is to end this stupid government shutdown and work like crazy to make people realize that Obamacare is destroying the economy.
And you don't think Ted Cruz did that when he got up and filibustered?
I think he
put it in the headlines.
The filibuster was fine. But, I mean, where we are now, people believe that the Republicans are just doing what they can to block Obamacare. The media is grabbing hold of that, and they're making it a Republican issue. The government shutdown is a Republican issue, and it's not going to help. It's not going to help us in 2014. That's what I'm saying.
Henry, may I ask you a question?
Sure. I'll answer your question, by the way.
Okay, could Ted Cruz have done this without the Speaker of the House, John Boehner, bringing it to the floor, unlike Harry Reid?
Well, no, but I mean, what's that got to do with anything?
Well, it's got to do with, on some level, John Boehner and some of the establishment Republicans allowed this to come to the floor.
There's no doubt about that. But I mean, if you're John Boehner, you've got different factions inside your party that you've got to listen to.
Exactly, which requires leadership to not treat the Tea Party with contempt and bring these guys together with a unified plan, because a house divided cannot stand.
All right, thank you, Rusty. Go ahead and make your point. I got to move.
Well, no, and the end game now is what it, from what I hear Tom Lamprecht saying, is that when you look at the polls, it seems to be evenly divided on who's getting blamed, but the media does nothing but repeat it's the Republicans' fault.
Well, sure.
And so this is adding. You're singing with the choir of the media, in my opinion, with your perception on the end game.
Now it's my fault. All right, thank you, Rusty. Thank you, Rusty. Thank you, man.
They still love you.
All right, let's go to break. If you're online, hold on. We'll get to you. 561-8255. We'll be right back.
Stallings Mobile and Mini Storage Company will deliver a storage unit to your home or business today. Stallings Storage is the only local company providing mobile storage units 8x15 or 8x10 delivered to your site. If you are remodeling your home or office or need to store merchandise and inventory at your business, you need to call Stallings Mobile and Mini Storage. We deliver, pick up, and store it for you. It's that easy, and there's no need to send your business out of town when your mobile storage needs can be met right here with people you know. Stallings Mobile and Mini Storage is located in Pitt County on Beast Oaks Road. It's a well-secured facility with a live-in manager. Fixed units range from 5 feet by 10 feet to 40 feet by 40 feet. We store boats, cars, anything you need. We are pirate supporting pirates. Call Stallings Mobile and Mini Storage today at 321-2300. That's 321-2300.
Unsafe drivers are all around you, speeding, texting, doing things that cause accidents and result in serious injury.
At Hardy & Hardy, we think those drivers and their insurance companies should be held responsible. We provide aggressive representation in and out of the courtroom, fighting for our clients' compensation for medical bills, lost wages, pain and suffering, and permanent injuries.
Count on Hardy & Hardy, protecting the rights of the seriously injured.
This is the spot where 50 years ago, pirates came together to build a stadium, where 50,000 screaming fans cheer their team to victory, where cannons roar to mark each score.
You can paint this one purple.
Where pirate football lives on. This is the spot you need to be this fall. Dowdy Ficklin Stadium. For tickets, visit ECUPirates.com.
Having a vision of what really matters is how we succeed. Keeping an eye on the ball, seeing all the things that we need. Focusing on the big picture, always striving to do what's right. Carolina Vision Care, we keep what's important in sight.
When you're
you're on the go, it's Trade Wilco. No matter where you go in Eastern Carolina, there's sure to be an attractive and always clean Trade Wilco Hess station nearby. For the absolute lowest prices on gas, groceries, and travel necessities, stop at any of the Trade Wilco Hess stations throughout Eastern Carolina. Keep your eyes on the road, but remember to look for the green and white Hess sign. The best part? No one supports the ECU Pirates more. So when you're on the go, it's Trade Wilco.
Okay, welcome back. It's 16 in front of 9 o'clock, and Tom had to leave. Thank you, Tom, for coming in this morning and stirring up my audience. I appreciate that. I think I'm the one who stirred it up, actually. 561-8255. Derek is on the phone. Good morning, Derek.
Good morning, Henry. First, on the state level, I was looking at some figures about expenditures at the executive mansion from 2005 to the present.
Yeah.
I got this off, I don't know if you've seen this, over $6 million spent during the Easley administration.
Probably not a word in the News Observer questioning that.
Exactly. Over $250,000 during the Purdue administration.
Wow.
And to date, $159,000 under the McCrory administration. The fact of the matter is, it's the first house of North Carolina. It's the home of our governor. It is a symbol of our state. And I too know Pat McCrory, and I don't think they're in there putting 24-karat gold fixtures in the executive mansion.
No.
The fact of the matter is, it's an old home, and when you do renovations in older homes, you have to use certain materials. Enough said about that.
But I mean, the main thing is they got to get the mold out of there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a health issue.
Right.
On the government shutdown, I have been a lifelong Republican. I don't think this shutdown helps anybody. And I wish Tom Lamprecht was still there, because he said something about perception wasn't as bad as it was in the 90s. I don't know how much worse you can get when and some will say, well, Derek's playing on emotions, but this is fact. When the families of dead soldiers are having to scramble money to buy tickets to fly to Dover so that they can see their sons and daughters' caskets being born off the airplane because the funding is not there, that everybody seemed to think was there. Oh, we thought it was there. Everybody from the speaker right on down.
Well, I think that was the Obama folks saying let's pin this on the Republicans.
Right.
Again, they've just done a better job of messaging this thing than the Republicans have. There's just no doubt about that.
Exactly. And they say it's fixed. Well, it's fixed because the Fisher House has stepped up and said, we will fund this until the government gets their act straight. Bottom line is, we need the Republicans need to win the Senate. Until then, this shutdown helps no one. It's only lowering the faith of the American people in their government, Republican and Democrat alike. It's at an all-time low. And there was a day in Raleigh and in Washington when statesmen and women could sit down across the aisle and work out the hard problems of this country.
Agreed.
And that day is gone, and it's a sad day for all Americans. And, they say, we're not going to reach the debt limit. We're not going to pass that. That's not going to happen. I don't know anymore, Henry. I don't know.
Well, I said from the beginning that this would end up being a stalemate right to the bitter end, and that, it could get dangerous, and it's worrisome. Derek, thanks for those comments. I appreciate it, man. Good to hear from you. Let's go to Ben, who's been holding a while. Ben, thanks for holding. How are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
Hey, we're running short on time, and I got several folks holding, so go ahead.
My question is, why at the end of this thing, after the shutdown is over, why at the end when you go into 2014 elections, why can't you go back when all this pain has been put on the American people from taxes and increased insurance premiums? Why at that point can't you run on, we went and we fought as hard as we could to keep this thing from being implemented, and now it's been we did our best, and it
you
got
can.
implemented.
I'm just making the point that that they've knocked that issue off the front page. That could be the message today, Ben. And politics is about getting your message out. And they've handed the Democrats an opportunity to knock that off the front page. That's what we ought to be talking about, is these high insurance premiums.
Right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. 561-8255. Let's go to Ed. Good morning, Ed.
Morning, Henry. How are you, sir?
Fine. Thanks for calling.
I got a quick comment. The end game is to win the elections in 2014. Do you honestly think that the intellectually challenged are going to pay attention to this? That's a year away. They are not going to come to the polls. Just like 2010, the people who are going to fight will show up in 2010. If we pull a John McCain and a Richard Burr and just roll over, in 2010, the people that put the House in power are going to take the House out of power by not showing up. And that's just the facts. If you don't keep this base happy, I'm a Republican. I'm involved in the Pitt County Republican Party. It's a joke. We do not, as the base of the Republican Party, we do not support this rollover. We got to fight, and we got to fight hard. Harry Reid, we're doing a terrible job of making this Harry Reid. He's the one causing this, period. It isn't Obama. It is Harry Reid. And a year
it's
from
Obama.
Now,
you're wrong about that. It's Obama.
Well,
you think Harry
I'll
Reid
agree
has
with
the
that.
capacity? Harry Reid's a mouthpiece.
He's shutting everything down. He refuses to take it to the floor.
Oh, it's coming
So
from
if we
Obama.
If we can put that out there, we have a terrible. Our
here's the thing. I think the Tea Party has done some amazing work and served a tremendously positive purpose for the conservative movement in the country. I don't think there's any question about that. I just don't like the idea that it's style over substance. The idea of let's do something to bring, to rain hellfire down on the Democrats and create these problems for the Democrats, unless it's thought out well enough to actually have an end game that actually helps the Republicans. I think in the end, this particular time, they went too far, in my opinion, and there was no reason for it because it's not going anywhere and it's not going to change anything. Make a statement? Yes. But the statement was already made. We already knew that everybody hated Obamacare, and it was bad for the country. You even were beginning to hear Democrats and people in places that could have gotten the message through, like Warren Buffett, some of the others that have been staunch Republican Obama supporters, coming out and saying, you know what, Obamacare is bad for the economy. That's the message.
I can respect that, but what do you think is going to happen next year? Again, it's a year away. Obamacare will be in full force, and this will be gone. This will be out of people's memories. The only people that'll be remembering this is John McCain types, Mitch McConnell. They're the only ones.
I just disagree with you there, Ed.
And they will be the ones bashing. They'll be the ones bashing the true conservatives. So,
okay.
But I do appreciate. I totally respect your opinion, and there's value. There is validity to it, but I just disagree with it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Patricia, we'll give you the last word because we've got to run.
Yes, I have 4 statements to make.
Well, make them fast.
Ronald Reagan's 11th Amendment. Do not
speak ill of other Republicans.
10 Commandments.
11th Commandment, right?
So you can keep that in mind also.
You think I need to hear that? You think I need to hear that?
Yeah, I think so.
I think everybody needs to listen to that.
I agree. The Senate race in 2014, North Carolina may potentially be the swing state, so we need to keep that in mind. We do bring in $200 billion a month. We are not going to default as long as the upper echelon of Obama agrees to pay our bills. And the funding for the families to meet the bodies of our fallen soldiers was already it had already been approved, and Obama said no.
Okay.
That word came down directly from Obama to the Pentagon, do not pay.
Right.
Obama has
I'm sure of
said, I
that.
want to
I'm
make
sure of
this
that.
as painful
I think
as
that.
possible.
I think that's right. I think that part is right. Absolutely. And as far as speaking negatively about other Republicans, here's the other thing that Reagan was the master of. Bringing people together. God, I wish we had a Reagan up there, somebody who could get everybody on the same page and help lead us, because we're struggling with leadership in this country, and we're struggling with leadership in the Republican Party right now. And with regard to that, I mean, I think that we can disagree, but again, I just keep coming back to, in the end, what is the purpose of all of this, and what are we going to gain from it? And I just don't, I have yet to see or hear anyone say, here's what will happen. I mean, do you think Obamacare is going away as a result of this? I mean, that's the unspoken elephant in the room, I think, and I don't believe that that's possible.
No, it's not going to go away, but people wanted someone to stand up and fight. The American people, the middle-class working American.
Right.
The American patriot.
I hate Obamacare. I think it's the worst. I think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to the country in a long time, and it's going to be I just don't think it was well thought through, and people have no idea yet what it's going to do to the economy of the country. But I also
the idea is that it becomes more of a social nation.
Yeah.
The people who voted for it.
Well, there's no doubt.
Care.
Yeah. All right, we got to run.
Care.
Thank you for the call. Thanks everybody for the call. Let me get a break in. We'll be right back to close things out.
You want out of your old car but owe more than it's worth? You want credit but the bank won't approve you? Greenville Toyota will take care of all of that during our great September sell-off. Get up to 125% of Blue Book value for your trade. Then get to a new 2013 Toyota with 0 down. Corolla's $179 a month. Camry's $219 a month. And get the Greenville Toyota Advantage with covered maintenance for life. Don't miss Greenville Toyota's great September sell-off, where if you give us 15 minutes, we can lower your high car payment.
Top Dog Academy is Eastern North Carolina's complete dog training facility. Top Dog provides an excellent environment for dogs of all ages with training services and work week daycare. Top Dog is located on Highway 43 South, just 4 miles from Bells Fork, and features a comfortable, healthy environment and a spacious facility for daycare and a brand new, beautiful facility for training. Call 752-8215 or visit topdogonline.com.
Come on out Highway 43 South to Top Dog Academy, where we know dogs.
Pepsi, born here, raised by Panthers fans everywhere.
Raise your Pepsi for a chance to win the ultimate fan experience. See specially marked 18 packs or visit PepsiRaisedHere.com to learn more.
When you're on the go, it's Trade Wilco. No matter where you go in Eastern Carolina, there's sure to be an attractive and always clean Trade Wilco Hess station nearby. For the absolute lowest prices on gas, groceries, and travel necessities, stop at any of the Trade Wilco Hess stations throughout Eastern Carolina. Keep your eyes on the road, but remember to look for the green and white Hess sign. The best part? No one supports the ECU Pirates more. So when you're on the go, it's Trade Wilco.
You want out of your old car but owe more than it's worth? You want credit but the bank won't approve you? Greenville Toyota will take care of all of that during our great September sell-off. Get up to 125% of Blue Book value for your trade. Then get to a new 2013 Toyota with 0 down. Corolla's $179 a month. Camry's $219 a month. And get the Greenville Toyota Advantage with covered maintenance for life. Don't miss Greenville Toyota's great September sell-off, where if you give us 15 minutes, we can lower your high car payment.
Unlock the best life has to offer for generations to come. Introducing the Legacy Membership exclusively at Ironwood Golf and Country Club. As a Legacy member, you'll not only enjoy all the benefits of an active, family-friendly lifestyle, your children and grandchildren will enjoy membership status as well. Belonging to Ironwood is remarkable. Sharing it with your entire family is even better. Become a Legacy member today, only at Ironwood Golf and Country Club. Golf at its finest, life at its fullest.
Many people in eastern North Carolina suffer from diabetes. The question is, can the disease be managed before it causes harm? Are there lifestyle changes that can help prevent it in the first place? And can a health system really make a difference? At Vidant Health, we're empowering people with tools and resources to detect and manage chronic disease. Can diabetes education and management help members of your family lead healthier lives? The answer is definitely yes.
Accidents can cause serious injuries and create many problems in your everyday life. At the law firm of Hardy & Hardy, we work to protect your rights and help solve your problems.
Attorneys Wayne and Charles Hardy help injured clients understand their rights and work diligently to obtain compensation for their damages and losses. Sharp negotiators, experienced litigators, compassionate attorneys.
If you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, count on Hardy & Hardy.
Protecting the rights of the...
Okay, it's about a minute in front of 9 o'clock, and we're pretty much out of time. Thanks for all the phone calls this morning. That was a healthy discussion, I think. And I thought it was, people who don't agree should talk about these things and come to some sort of solution. I wish they would do that in Raleigh. I mean, Raleigh too, but in Washington. Don't forget Steve Logan tonight. We'll talk sports with Coach Logan tonight from 6 to 8, brought to you by Meineke Car Care. Tune in, call in, and talk to the coach. And don't forget our Meet the Candidates event for Greenville City Council candidates live at Rep Express during our community breakfast on Friday. We hope to see you there. Have a great Monday, everybody.